Hey there. I had a couple really cool experiences last night and this morning, and I wanted to talk about them and a couple of the insights I got from them. Um, the concept revolves around body sensations and how body sensations can generate thoughts. And so the basic gist is we can either feel sensations relative to other sensations in our body, or we can feel sensations and relate those sensations to a thought or to a story. Um, and generally, painful sensations we feel in our body will generate resonant stories that are usually negative or self deprecative or just bad stories, stories that um, bring us down, or stories that make us feel empowered. For example, if there's some pain or discomfort in the body and we feel that, we feel resistant to it, we're going to have similar tense, resistant thoughts about ourselves or about reality, about people around us. So we'll have painful feelings, painful sensations in our bodies, and we'll project those out onto reality, project those out into thoughts. And we can get caught up in those thoughts and believe that they're true, when really what's going on is there's some discomfort in the body and it's generating some negative story or just negative thoughts in general. So, the example is my experience last night. I vaporized probably 250 micrograms of salvinorin, and then first I laid and meditated for maybe 20 minutes just in bed in the dark, and then I took the hit and held it in. And what happened was my mind started to cease to think, and then I started to feel into my body more, and it turned up the volume of the sensations in my body. In particular, I had this kind of painful, tight, kind of clawing sensation going on in my back, or it was kind of deep into my trapezoid, or not my is that my trapezoid? My What's that muscle back there? I'm forgetting the name of it. But basically, behind the shoulder blade is where it felt like it was coming from. And so what happened was I started to feel that painful sensation in there. It was like tension, but it was like really sharp and painful. And I guess what I realized was this was a feeling that I have been feeling for a while. It's just been there for a long time. Who knows how long it's actually really been there, because I haven't really been conscious of it for the most part. But when I took the salvia, I tapped deeper into my nervous system and turned the volume up of what was going on in there. And then I felt that feeling, and it was very painful. And I realized, wow, this is a pain that's been there. And to put it into context, over the past few weeks, I've just been having a hard time, and I've been feeling kind of depressed. I would distract myself throughout the day, whether it's just scrolling on my phone or just keeping busy. Um, and what I realized last night was this painful feeling is something I've been distracting myself from. I've been trying to do anything basically to distract myself from this painful feeling. And in the meantime, over the past few weeks, I've been having some negative thoughts, some self-deprecative thoughts. A lot of whenever I would think about people or situations, they have this kind of tint, like this, they were tainted with this kind of negative perspective and negative attitude. And it was hard for me to understand, like, man, what is going on with me? And so what happened was, when I was feeling that painful sensation, I was like, oh, I can see now more clearly that this painful sensation has been there, and I've been pushing it away and resisting it. But meanwhile, it's been generating all these negative thoughts. And if it's not, then I just am kind of depressed. And I think it has to do with my nervous system. I'm trying to block out that feeling. So it's almost like I have to shut down that part of my nervous system that's feeling that. And in doing so, I lose contact with that part of my body, and I don't have access to myself. If I know that's kind of a vague woo-woo statement, but it's like I don't have access to like the intuition that would be available there if I was able to feel my whole body and my whole energetic structure, you could say. And so because there's pain there, I'm blocking off, there's just this blockage of energy, you could say. And that leads to these kind of negative patterns of thinking. And so as I was feeling the feeling, I was like, oh, wow, I'm finally feeling this feeling. And the salvia was helping me feel it and giving me this perspective on it. I was able to kind of broaden my awareness and kind of hold it more and recognize, okay, yeah, I don't want to feel this feeling and have this feeling create these negative thoughts. And so I focused on just feeling the feeling. And it was basically, it felt like my whole reality was just this one point in my back that was just like, it's so painful. And I mean, I'll use the word excruciating. It was very intense. And, but the salvia was helping me feel it. And my job was to just really focus on it and not let myself think too much and just really focus on it and be with it. And so as I felt that one point, and it felt like all of reality was just revolving around this one little painful sensation. It was intense, but then as I felt it, I started to feel other sensations in my body. So if I'm feeling that part in my back here, then I would feel a sensation over here. Maybe it was a more subtle, softer sensation, and then I would feel a little itch over here, and then maybe something in my leg. And why is this blurry? What is going on? So what would happen, I realized, and it doesn't feel totally clear yet, but it's something like this where I feel a sensation, and instead of it being relative to a thought, that sensation becomes relative to other points in my body. And so I start to go, oh, okay, I'm able to track in space where that particular sensation is within the structure, the matrix of my body. And then I'm able to ground, instead of getting lost in thought or whatever, I'm able to ground that sensation with other sensations in my body because I'm starting to build a map of my body again instead of just kind of being up in my head from distracting myself for so long, I guess. And so I started to feel different parts of my body, and the pain was still there, but instead of focusing on any thoughts, I just focused on all the other sensations that would arise and change throughout my body. And then I started to just feel just this acceptance of it, just accepting that sensation's there, and I don't need to go into the pattern of thinking these negative thoughts. And then I start to feel the rest of my body. And then it started to kind of soften a bit. And I started to feel these tears start to well up because it was cathartic because I was finally feeling, oh, this is what I've been blocking for so long, not feeling these painful feelings. And they're finally just there, and I'm able to just let myself feel them. And then I'm able to start to release them. And I kind of cried a little bit. There's like tears streaming down my eyes a bit. And, I could just kind of feel my heart kind of pulsing a bit. And yeah, this kind of cathartic process started to unfold. And then I was able to just lay there for a bit, and then my whole body started to just relax more and more. And then that was it. And then I ended up just going to sleep, having a good sleep. And yeah, it just made me think of the importance of why having a meditation practice of just sitting with sensations is super helpful with any psychedelic, but in particular with salvia. They kind of go well together. And so having a meditation practice where I'm sitting with the sensations of my body and not getting overtly active in my mind and thinking too many thoughts, but just allowing the variety of sensations, whether they're pleasant or painful, to just simply be there and just lay still. When I was laying down, I was laying on my back with my arms kind of just out to the side, kind of like corpse pose, you could say, in yoga, and laying kind of just flat and symmetrical, and just not moving as best as I could. I barely moved the whole time, even though I really wanted to move at some points just to kind of get away from the feeling. But the more I allowed myself to feel it, the easier eventually it got. Even though it would just keep rising in intensity, then eventually it kind of crashed out. So having a meditation practice, I think, is super important, and in particular, meditation practice where we're focusing on the body and just with the breath, and just feeling the breath and just relaxing into it. And as we're relaxing into the breath and just focusing there, as sensations arise throughout the body, just continue to relax the breath and just be with whatever comes up. Even if the breath speeds up or gets shallow or rapid or whatever, being with that too, and just being with it all, eventually leads to the body being able to just finally relax. And so that leads to the second part of my experience, which happened this morning, which was when I took it, I laid and meditated and just laid there. And this time there wasn't all that pain that there was before, because I cleared a bunch of it. And so as I laid there, yeah, I felt some discomfort throughout my body. It wasn't as intense and excruciating as the night before. And so as I lay there, I just stay focused with my body, with my breathing, just stay with it. And eventually I kind of just disappeared. And I went into this, I don't know, this kind of, there's this sort of wave thing going on where like the universe compressed down, and then it just disappeared, and there's just nothingness happening. And then out of that, there's this movement going on. And as I moved in and out, like I could see that movement was opening up these realities, and it was like opening up other people's realities. So I started to get a little confused, like, because I would open up over here and I would be in someone else's reality, someone else that I knew. And then I would open up over here and I'd be in another person's reality. And it really felt like I was actually there. And in the experience, I'm completely convinced that I'm actually just bending space and time and moving into someone else's reality. And so this movement kept happening, and then it started to get very, very sensual. And there was this kind of losing myself in the sensual. It was like this kind of rapturous, sensual, sexual experience of just my body just kind of, I didn't realize at the moment that I was a body while that was happening, really. I just felt like there was just all this pleasure. The universe was just experiencing this state of pleasure. And I was feeling these kind of pulsations and like gyrations of like my pelvis and my spine and I guess my arms and legs. Everything was just kind of moving in this very fluid way, and it felt extremely good and extremely pleasurable. It was like having sex, but like on a cosmic scale, and I was just by myself. So it was really interesting. So what I think is that when we can learn to just sit with all the sensations in our body and just like become okay with them, no matter what they are, eventually we'll get to a point where the body will process those sensations out. And then the body's always trying to get to a place where it just feels good, feels healthy. If there's blockages or like tense points in the body or pain in the body, it always wants to heal that stuff. We just need to be able to just be with it and allow ourselves to feel it, because that's what, like, our kind of still compassionate awareness of it is the thing that allows it to start to finally change. Because if we're resisting it, there's just more tension. We create more tension and resistance around the feelings, and then we just tie ourselves in knots. So having that practice is super helpful, and I think that is with salvia in particular, that is the gateway into that other realm, and it's like this ecstatic realm where all sorts of beautiful things are possible, all sorts of amazing, pleasurable, fun experiences are possible. And because our body just feels healthy and feels good, then that's the kind of experience and reality will start to generate in the experience itself. Instead of, if we have a lot of pain and resistance and we continue to resist that, then the experience becomes about that. Like my experience last night, it was about the pain, and I was able to have a sort of a way of, okay, this is how I'm going to be with this, and I'm going to allow it to be there, and eventually it shifts. And that allows us to have these more beautiful, pleasurable experiences that, like today, I felt so much better than I have in a few weeks. And I feel way refreshed. It was wonderful. I'm so glad I had those experiences. And I'm excited for more because I know how to deal with painful things. If it's painful, I'm open to that. It's like, this might be painful this time. I don't always know, but I'm just open to it, and I'm open to whatever arises. And so I'm approaching it with this openness of just, okay, whatever happens, I'm just going to be present for it. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to try to get away from it. I'm not going to try to distract myself. I'll just be with it. And then if it's painful, it'll be painful. If it ends up being pleasurable, it's just ecstatic. It's beautiful. Yeah, so I just wanted to rant about that for a little bit before I went to bed tonight. It was super beautiful and very, what's the word? It really affirms a lot of the work that I've done with myself with meditation and being with my body and understanding these concepts in a way that's very useful and helpful for myself. And just having beautiful experiences like that is such a good affirmation of that sort of stuff working, and where it could lead, as far as continue to have more experiences, and who knows what else will continue to unfold for me. And yeah, felt really excited to share that. So here I am, and there you go. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to go to bed. Again, if you like this stuff, I'm going to keep trying to make videos as often as I can. And you can just like and subscribe wherever it is. I think it's over there. Or is it over here? I don't know. But just do that, and my videos will pop up for you. And if you look in the description, you'll see a link to my Linktree with other stuff that I've done. It's been a while since I've done other stuff, but you can see a little bit more about me, and there'll be more to come. All right, thanks, y'all. Good night.